Hi, in this video you will learn an advanced technique that will improve your reading comprehension on digital SAT. If you're new here, hi, my name is Katja Sieberson. I have been an SAT tutor for the last 10 years here in New York. I'm doing this full-time. This is not my side project or side gig. SAT is my life. So much so that I wrote a book about SAT vocabulary. When I was writing this book, I did not write it with the digital SAT in mind, but this is absolutely perfect for digital SAT. I also wrote a book on reading speed and that will teach you how to read faster, so check them out. And if you also want direct help from me, you should join my SAT Help membership, where for one monthly fee, you can get direct access to me. I will answer all of your questions and we will meet live 16 times a week. You can also hire me as your one-on-one coach. It will be my pleasure to help you improve your SAT game. Let's get to the video. As you probably remember from video 1, and if you have not watched video 1, please do so because this video will make more sense. So as we've talked about in video 1, you probably remember that the size of the passages on the digital SAT reduced significantly. The passages shrunk from 750 words to anywhere from 50 to 150 words. However, just because the size of the passages reduced, it did not take away all of the reading comprehension challenges that students had with longer passages. And one of the more challenging things that the SAT does to confuse the students is using different words to say the same thing. So let me show you a specific example of using different words to say the same thing. Let's suppose you are the author and you're writing an article about bacteriostatic antibiotics. This is a natural science passage, but you know that even though you have to talk about the subject of your research many times, you know that you're not allowed to repeat the same words over and over again. So you will say the same thing, but use different words. And you can use terms like bacteria growth inhibitors. This is the same thing as bacteriostatic antibiotics, so they inhibit the growth. You can also say that those are antibiotics that suppress bacterial growth. You can say antibiotics that arrest bacterial growth. All of those are going to be examples of saying the same thing, however, using different words. Another very potent example is, and it's very important for me that you realize this, that people who fought for the right to vote are the same people as suffrage fighters. And when you see both of these things in two consecutive sentences, some students often believe that, well, those are two different things. Bacteriostatic antibiotics and bacteria growth inhibitors could be different things, but they aren't. So it's essential that you expect that the College Board is going to say the same thing and yet use different words to point to the same thing. Okay, so let's do this passage together. I will put it up on the screen, and then if you want to, take a hot second, pause the video, try to read it, and identify those places where the author uses different words to say the same thing. Now I'm going to do this with you. So as I'm reading, I should probably mention that the passage is called Weeds. Weeds is the same thing as invasive species. Although some invasive species do cause tremendous and irreparable damage to non-native ecosystems, non-native is the same thing as invasive. Ecosystems, environments are not static. So they is actually a pronoun, and this is something that we will talk about in obstacle number 3. Your job is to point they to environments, but again, let's hold that thought until obstacle number 3. They change, develop, adapt to transitions, whether these be natural or handmade. These would be, again, transitions, the natural or man-made. We must learn to be more discriminating in our eradication of exotic plants. Exotic plants is the same as weeds, it's the same as invasive species, it's the same as non-native species from those areas where they have become integral part of the greater ecosystem. I hope that you appreciate now seeing how the same thing can be expressed using different words. But you're probably wondering, well, Katya, how can I get better to overcome obstacle number 2 in many more passages? Well, what I recommend is that for your digital SAT and for your reading skill in general, you want to expand your vocabulary. Whenever you learn about a new concept, you want to be able to express it using a couple of different ways. Then you want to develop a habit of, in the argument, saying the same thing and using slightly different words. Remember the examples that I gave you earlier. We talked about the pill, the bacteriostatic antibiotics. You can also call them bacteria growth inhibitors. You can talk about people who fought for the right to vote. You can also call them suffrage fighters. Whenever you're writing your essay, whatever your topic is, let's say your topic is dream interpretation. I want you to use Google or ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT or Google for different ways to say dream interpreters. Write those ways down and always have them available for you. The more you're expanding your vocabulary, the easier it is for you to then spot those repetitions in the passage. And always assume that on the digital SAT, the passage is going to stay on topic. The author will just use different words to say the same thing. I hope you found this video helpful. This was really helpful for me to realize that the same thing could be expressed using different words. And just because different words are used, it's not necessarily true that the author is now talking about something else. As my gratitude to you, I'm giving you this information openly on YouTube. And as a thank you to me, what you can do is you can like this video, you can subscribe to my channel, you can share it with someone else who needs it, leave comments. I will see you guys in the comments, and I will obviously be looking to see you in my membership. I'll see you. Bye.